Hello everyone. In this part, we will talk about defining psychological typical actions and developing the methodology for executing psychological typical actions. Part 3. Understanding psychological typical actions. In psychology, typical actions refer to the common patterns of behavior that individuals engage in as they interact with their environment. These actions can be studied and analyzed in order to understand the underlying motivations and processes that drive behavior. In the context of online services, understanding typical actions is essential for providing effective services at a distance. Examples of psychological typical actions. There are a wide range of psychological typical actions that can be studied, including emotion regulation. Emotion regulation refers to the ways in which individuals manage their emotions, such as by avoiding or approaching emotional stimuli, or by engaging in behaviors that reduce or enhance emotions. Attention and perception. Attention and perception refer to the ways in which individuals allocate their attention to sensory information that process in order to make sense of the world. Social interaction. Social interaction refers to the ways in which individuals interact with others, such as by engaging in conversation, forming relationships, and responding to social cues. Decision making. Decision making refers to the processes by which individuals make choices and evaluate potential outcomes. Memory and learning. Memory and learning refer to the ways in which individuals encode, store, and retrieve information. Importance of understanding psychological typical actions for online services. Understanding psychological typical actions is crucial for providing effective online services because it allows service providers to better understand the motivations and processes that drive behavior. By understanding typical actions, service providers can design services that are tailored to meet the needs of their clients and that are grounded in research-based knowledge. For example, in the context of online therapy, understanding typical actions in emotion regulation can help service providers design interventions that help clients manage their emotions in effective and adaptive ways. In addition, understanding typical actions in social interaction can help service providers create online communities that foster positive social interactions and provide support to clients. Furthermore, understanding typical actions can also help service providers evaluate the effectiveness of their services. By monitoring and measuring typical actions, service providers can assess the impact of their services and make improvements as needed. Methodology for executing psychological typical actions online. To execute psychological typical actions online, service providers must have a solid understanding of the relevant theories and research in the field. In addition, service providers must be familiar with a variety of methods for collecting and analyzing data, including self-report measures, behavioral observation, and physiological measures. Service providers must also be proficient in using technology to provide services, and they must be familiar with online communication tools such as video conferencing and instant messaging. One key aspect of executing typical actions online is the use of technologies to facilitate data collection and analysis. For example, online surveys and questionnaires can be used to gather self-report data, and wearable technologies such as fitness trackers can be used to collect physiological data. In addition, service providers must also be able to effectively use technology to provide services, such as by using video conferencing and instant messaging to provide therapy and support. Service providers must be familiar with online communication tools and be able to use them effectively in order to provide services that are accessible and convenient for clients. In conclusion, Executing psychological typical actions online requires a deep understanding of the relevant theories and research, as well as proficiency in using technology to provide services. Service providers must be able to effectively collect and analyze data, and they must be familiar with online communication tools in order to provide effective services at a distance. Part 4. Developing the methodology for executing psychological typical actions. Developing a methodology for executing psychological typical actions online requires a systematic approach that is grounded in research-based knowledge and is tailored to meet the unique needs of clients. The methodology should be comprehensive, effective, and client-centered, and it should involve the use of evidence-based practices and technology tools. The following steps are critical for developing a methodology for executing psychological typical actions online. Step 1. Identify the unique needs of clients. The first step in developing a methodology for executing psychological typical actions online is to identify the unique needs of clients. This involves gathering information about the demographics, mental health issues, and treatment goals of clients. It may also involve conducting a needs assessment or survey to gather feedback from clients about their preferences and needs. Step 2. Identify evidence-based practices. The second step is to identify evidence-based practices that have been shown to be effective in the treatment of mental health issues identified in Step 1. Evidence-based practices are those that have been validated through research and are known to be effective in treating specific mental health issues. Step 3. Develop a technology plan. The third step is to develop a technology plan that outlines the technology tools that will be used to deliver services online. This may involve selecting a video conferencing platform, instant messaging platform, or other tools that are appropriate for the needs of the client. Step 4. Develop a service delivery plan. The fourth step is to develop a service delivery plan that outlines how services will be delivered to clients. This may involve determining the frequency and duration of therapy sessions, the use of homework assignments, and the use of other tools to support the delivery of services. Step 5. Develop an evaluation plan. The fifth step is to develop an evaluation plan that outlines how the effectiveness of services will be monitored and evaluated. This may involve the use of outcome measures, client feedback, and other tools to track progress and ensure that services are meeting the needs of clients. Step 6. Test and refine the methodology. The final step is to test and refine the methodology for executing psychological typical actions online. This may involve piloting the methodology with a small group of clients, gathering feedback, and making changes as needed to ensure the services are effective and meet the unique needs of clients. Best practices for developing the methodology for executing psychological typical actions. Client-centered approach. The methodology for executing psychological typical actions online should be tailored to meet the unique needs of clients. This involves taking a client-centered approach and developing a methodology that is grounded in the needs and goals of clients. Evidence-based practices. The methodology should be based on evidence-based practices that have been shown to be effective in treating specific mental health issues. This helps to ensure that services are effective and provide the desired outcomes. Collaborative approach. The development of the methodology should be a collaborative effort that involves mental health professionals, technology experts, and researchers. This helps to ensure that the methodology is comprehensive, effective, and grounded in research-based knowledge. Continuous improvement. The methodology should be continuously evaluated and improved to ensure that it is effective and meeting the needs of clients. This may involve gathering feedback from clients, monitoring outcomes, and making changes as needed. In conclusion, developing a methodology for executing psychological typical actions online requires a systematic approach that is grounded in research-based knowledge, is tailored to meet the unique needs of clients, and involves the use of evidence-based practices and technology tools. The methodology should be comprehensive, effective, and client-centered, and it should be continuously evaluated and improved to ensure that the services are meeting the needs of the clients. By following the best practices and taking a collaborative approach, service providers can develop a methodology that is effective, accessible, and tailored to meet the needs of all clients.